Hey family, it's your girl, Boss B, and welcome to the Ask a Bee Show, the place where your letters come to life. Every day people write in with real questions about life, love, and everything in between. And together, we find hope, healing, and a whole lot of honesty. Because here on Ask a Bee, we don't just talk about problems, we talk about possibilities. So grab your tea, open your heart, and let's buzz into today's letters right here on the Ask a Bee Show. Hello. Listen, we're going to get right into this today because I need to talk to y'all, okay? I received, I've got some more letters, so we're just going to move into this real quick. So I guess I'm going to start with a statement for the most part. Support is, it's one of those things people underestimate until the moment that they need it and find out they don't actually have it. And when you've lived a life where support wasn't something you could rely on, not from family, not from the people who should have been in your corner. Hello, blessed sister. Good to see you. Oh, I'm so happy you're here too. Because let me tell you, your family is amazing, Niecy Jackson, and I am so happy to be a plus sister here, especially with this letter today that I got. And forgive me if I seem a bit, heated about this one, but it's because I've found some common ground with this letter. Okay, so you develop this strength that everybody celebrates when it benefits them, but completely forgets to acknowledge when it's crushing you. And that becomes the story of your life. People cheering for you, people cheering for your resilience while ignoring the pain that forced you to become resilient in the first place. Okay, the thing about being the strong one is that people stop treating you like a person and they start treating you like a resource, like a utility, a tool, a function. Okay. They come to you when they need the one person who always holds things together. You become the safe place for everyone else, but never get a safe place for yourself unless you meet a wonderful family like I did. First, you don't really notice because it's all you've ever really known. You think being the dependable one is a compliment until the day you look around and realize nobody even thinks to ask if you're okay. And then one day you do something for you. You create something. You start one of your dreams that you've put off for so long, and you find passion. Okay, that isn't tied to someone else's problems or someone else's efforts. You get to be you instead of somebody else, right? And you take that terrifying step, putting your voice out into the world. You build something from scratch, something that lights you up, something that feels like the first real place of you that wasn't shaped by obligation. Okay. And in that moment, you do what any human being would do. You hope the people you've supported might support you back. You hope the people you carried might help you take on, one little step. And you hope that those people you fed and loved and guided and protected and comforted might even show up and say, I'm proud of you. But instead, you get silence, you get excuses, and you get the shrug. You get the same people who blow up your phone and they need something suddenly acting like clicking a link. Oh my gosh, watching a video or supporting your dream is a burden too heavy for them to lift. And that kind of disappointment isn't loud. It's not dramatic. It's not the kind of pain you scream about. And you know that's what I'm all about, the silent pain here. It's a very quiet ache like this, and a private ache. Something that drains you in a way you don't even realize until you're sitting alone thinking, why does nobody want to see me win the way I want to see them win? Support is not about applause. It's about presence. Support is about showing up. It's about effort. And when people don't show up for you, especially the people you have shown up for 24/7 every day of your life, you start to question everything. You start to wonder if maybe you're not worth supporting. You start to wonder if maybe your dreams don't matter. And maybe the problem is you instead of the truth, which is simply this. Some people only see you when you're serving them. Okay. They do not see you when you're becoming yourself. I'm telling you right now, this topic is personal. Okay. It's extremely personal. It lives in my bones because I know what it feels like to carry a household, carry a full family and all the responsibilities that come with it, carry all this emotional weight and everyone else's world on my back while my dreams sit quietly in the corner waiting for me to have something left. I know what it feels like to finally chase those dreams. I'm doing it now. Finally doing something for myself. Finally creating something meaningful. Right here, BBTV. Okay? And realize that the people that should be cheering me on the loudest are nowhere to be found. It's the kind of truth that makes your chest tight in a way you can't explain to anyone who hasn't lived it. And let me tell you, that's where I say again, plus, sister, thank you for making me a part of your family. Okay. I sit and I watch Big Jack's family come in, and I mean, all kinds of family come in. And then he brings a guest on that has all kinds of family that comes in. And, that is so amazing and special. And yes, I find myself daily jealous of that. But then I realize Niecy calls me plus sister. Jack's the one that gave me the Boss B name. Miss Sharon, I finally started saying your name the correct way. And just let me tell you this. I love you, lady. I do. I love your entire family. And oh my gosh, if you had any clue how amazing that you all are. Okay. I don't want to give you all the Pinterest version of this. Okay. I want you to know that my heart is full because of your family. I have had on occasion, my family has come in, or rather it was one occasion. And yes, I can tell you, I had to ask for it. The Jackson family, they show up without question. They show up without reserve. And let me tell you, I love being a part of it. So, it's not about inspirational quotes. It's not about surface level cheerleading. It's about the difference between being needed and being valued, which the Jackson family does that for each other and for their extended family like me. So, oh, that's why this one is so dear to me. And I felt like I needed to get to this letter right away. I only received this letter yesterday. And we're not going to get into it right away. I'm still doing trivia. I'm still doing funny letter first. But I really needed to be able to say something about this and to extend my gratitude to the Jackson family yet again, because you are amazing, all of you. And I'm just so grateful. So, this is really about the emotional reality of being everyone's backbone while nobody is your own. And if my voice cracks or I have to pause because this one hits deep, I'm sorry, let me pause. I'm going to get through this. Oh, I'm starting to think I should have went ahead and did the veterans, but I'm going to tell you, if I did a veterans, I would be crying and bawling, and I can't get through that on a show. Please forgive me on that one. I do very much value our veterans in ways you have no idea. So, with all that, before we go into the letters, before we hit the funny one that's going to loosen the room up just a little bit, and then, of course, the serious one that's probably going to punch us right back in the truth. We're going to warm up the brain with just a little trivia, because if we're going to wade into emotional water later, we might as well stretch first, right? So, back to my music history. You know, I love that. When you think about music history, you have to understand how wild certain eras truly were. Okay, in the 1960s, they weren't just about peace signs and tie-dye, even though, you know, Boss B loves them. They were about rebellion and experimentation and risk and expression that broke every rule and rewrote the culture. Okay. Now, the Monterey Pop Festival, it wasn't just a concert, it was a turning point, a moment where artists stopped trying to fit into the industry and started exploding out of it. Now, it was chaotic, it was experimental, and it was packed with musicians who were determined to leave a mark that you couldn't erase even if you tried. One particular guitarist that night didn't just perform, he created a moment so shocking and unforgettable that it has lived for 6 decades without fading. And that's where today's trivia question comes in, and the story behind it is crazier than most people know. So, here's our question. Which guitarist set his guitar on fire on stage at the Monterey Pop Festival in 1967? Okay, I'll read it one more time. Which guitarist set his guitar on fire on stage at the Monterey Pop Festival in 1967? Now, I will tell you, if you watch my shorts, you should know this one. All righty. I'm going to leave that up for just a second because think about that one. We all love this one. All righty then. Let's see here. Now, we're going to warm up the room a little bit before we break into it emotionally, because even on heavy days, humor is the lifeline that keeps us from drowning. And today's funny letter, well, it goes with the theme, and it's very universal. And if you are any kind of creator, YouTuber, streamer, musician, artist, writer, anything like that, then you already know the biggest struggle of your entire career is not the algorithm. It's not the editing. It's not the content. It's not the posting schedule. It's not even the burnout. The hardest part? Trying to get your own family to watch your show. And this letter captures that pain perfectly. Alrighty. B, I need help. Pardon me, not the cute kind, the real kind. The kind where I'm standing in my kitchen wondering how my own flesh and blood can scroll TikTok for 4 hours but can't click my channel link for 60 seconds. Hello. I swear my family treats my YouTube channel like it's a spam call from Scam Likely. I send them links with the same enthusiasm people send pregnancy announcements. Nothing. I post on Facebook. Nothing. I send a group text. Delivered. seen, and ignored like I handed them a flyer outside Walmart. I even tried emotional bribery. If you just watch one video, I'll cook dinner all week and won't complain once. They still didn't watch. At this point, I'm convinced my family thinks clicking my video will open a portal, drain their bank accounts, and infect their phone with a virus that orders 500 gallons of goat milk. Please help me before I lose it. Signed, algorithmically abandoned. That is a mouthful, let me tell you. Wow. Pardon me, I need a drink. Yeah, it's just Dr. Pepper. Oh, it's too early for that. Okay. Algorithmically abandoned. Let me just say this with love and with absolute clarity. I think your letter is one of the most painfully accurate summaries of being a creator that I've ever heard in my life. Because if there is one thing every single YouTuber has in common, it's this. Well, no, I say this, but I do not include Big Jack in this situation, okay? This whole situation. This is actually the Big Jack's family is the absolute opposite of this whole situation. That's why I praise them first. But okay. So it's this. Your own family will treat your channel like it's radioactive waste. You could release a video where you have a kitten or you save a kitten from a burning building, while solving world hunger in the background, and your family will still scroll past it like you just posted a blurry photo of a casserole. Listen, the wildest part here, they still call you the second they need something, as if they don't even realize you've been screaming into the digital void alone for months. Let me break down the psychology of this because it's not personal. Okay. Even though it feels deeply personal, your family has filed away, has you filed away as the version of you that benefits them, the helper, the fixer, the one they can dump problems on. I understand this, believe me. My granddaughter calls me llama, and everybody else calls me no problema. Okay? The one they rely on to get stuff done. They don't see creator. They don't see, visionary. They don't see the builder or the entrepreneur. They see the version of you that they've always known. And they can't upgrade that mental file because that would require effort. And effort is something they clearly don't invest in your dreams. Okay, there, I said it. I didn't want to, but that's true. Even though you've spent your whole life investing effort into their comfort, they don't know how to do it. So here's the real painful kicker. Okay. Family tends to take the person who sacrifices the most for granted the deepest. They assume you'll always be around, okay? They assume you'll always be available, strong, play the same role that they've handed you. So when you suddenly step into a new identity, a creator or storyteller, a voice, an entrepreneur, can't talk, translator, an educator, an influencer, they freeze. They do. Kind of like my mouth does when I'm trying to talk. They don't know how to support that version of you because they've never imagined you becoming anything other than what they need you to be. And that's true. And that's a hard lesson to learn, but you have to also take your accountability in it because you put your dreams off. And sure, you had good reason, but they didn't know it. Okay. Let's talk about this algorithm of family support. Because unlike YouTube, where consistency matters, right, Big Jack? With family, it absolutely does not. Nope. You could upload every day for 5 years and they still won't watch. Meanwhile, you post one thing on Facebook about needing help moving a couch, they're blowing up your phone. You post a thoughtful, emotional video you poured your soul into, crickets. But post a meme about being tired, suddenly they're in your inbox with LOL same. Okay, they don't even realize the irony. I love irony, but they don't even realize the irony. But here's where things get really wild. Your family will watch your content, just not when you're small. It's true. Jackson family excluded. But here's where things get really, oh, man. The day someone validates you, even a stranger in the comments, suddenly they always knew you had the talent. The minute you get a viral video, a sponsor, a paycheck, a collab, a shout out, suddenly your family will be the first one saying, "That's my baby." I always told them they were going to be big. And you're just going to sit there and think, "Sir, you didn't even click my 28-second short." Okay? Be serious. Now, listen, if you want them to watch it right now, I got some tips for you. These are good. And I'm saying this half joking and half serious. Okay? So here's your cheat code list. Oh, tell them the video is about them. People are narcissists by default. They will check. They will click faster than a toddler opening a snack. And tell them, do you think something's wrong with the audio? Family loves to find something wrong, okay? They'll analyze every second just to feel superior, even though there's nothing wrong with that video. Here, this one's more creative. How you like this one? Tell them Beyonce said your name. Hey, I used Anthony Hamilton with that one. Yep. Charlene, are you listening? Love Anthony Hamilton. Anyway. Tell them that you need opinions. I mean, tell me, what family member will not give you an opinion? Family loves giving opinions on stuff that they barely see. They will show up for that, I promise you. Or, tell them the pastor said to support their children. If you got to pull that card, you'll have a whole congregation in your watch history. Come on. Now listen, here's the real truth under all the jokes. You don't want this part, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. Stop expecting the people you serve to become the people who support you. Okay, let's think about that statement real quick. The people you serve, because that's what you do. And that's what you made yourself do. And yes, that's on you, but not entirely, because your family should serve you as well. Okay? Now listen. Creators get built by strangers. They get discovered by audiences. They get supported by people who see their value, not their utility. And creators grow with communities, not families. And if nobody in your home is watching your channel, guess what? That's pretty normal. It doesn't mean you suck. It doesn't mean your content is bad. And it certainly doesn't mean you're wasting your time. What it means is you're building something they can't comprehend yet. One day, mark my words, those same family members will be bragging about you to people who don't even care, saying things like, "Oh, yeah, I knew they were going somewhere." They get that from my side of the family. Tell me you hadn't heard that before. And you'll be all like, interesting because you couldn't even click play when I was starving for a view. Yeah. But here's the beautiful, powerful part. You don't need them. You don't. The algorithm will find your people, your tribe. It'll find your voice, and it'll send strangers who cheer for you with the energy that your family should have had from the beginning. And those strangers, they'll become your support system, your community, your cheerleaders, your plus sisters, the ones who show up with the enthusiasm you've deserved your entire life. You're not algorithmically abandoned. You're in the exact same phase every creator goes through, the phase where strangers see your potential before family ever will. Keep going. They'll catch up. But by the time they do, you'll already have everything you needed. And none of it, not one bit of it, will have come from them. It's all yours, baby. All yours. Okay? See, that's why I'm happy you're here, plus sister, because you certainly made that one work out well for me. Because yeah, once upon a time, Big Jack and his family was strangers for me. And then they became my community, and I don't care what you say. I may say not family, but they are family to me. You don't call somebody a plus sister because you just like their videos, okay? Niecy likes me. That's why I'm plus sister. And let me tell you, you're going to find your own Niecy, your own plus sister or brother or community, or you know what? You can extend your family past those that you serve. And here's another little tip. Let me take these off. Stop serving. Stop giving discounts. Stop reacting. My golden rule. 3 sides to every story. Okay? Now, this one's going to be the hard part, because I'm going to tell you this right out front. I'm sticking with a theme today. Okay? So this letter is going to be a little bit harder on the same subject. Pardon me, I got to prepare. Okay, now I want you to take a minute with me, because we are shifting into the serious tone in the room. You know, humor lets us breathe a little bit, but honesty is, I think, what lets us heal. And this next part, it's not light, it isn't cute, and it isn't something you can just gloss over. And this is where the truth gets raw. The words start touching places we don't talk about out loud, and where some of you might feel your chest tighten or your eyes burn a little, because what we're about to walk into is not a topic, it's a lived experience. It's a wound you learn to function with. And it's a space inside yourself where disappointment lives, quietly, because love you, Niecy. They sacrifice, they hold it all together, because if they don't, everything falls apart, and everything around them gets so accustomed to stability that they forget it comes from a person, a human being, a soul that gets tired, gets lonely, gets really overlooked and broken. And when that person finally tries to do something for themselves, something creative, something hopeful, something that lights them up, the lack of support, it hits harder than anyone who's never lived. They could, if they've never lived it, they can't understand it. Okay. And listen, you can pretend that lack of support doesn't bother you. You can even shrug it off. You can say, I don't need anyone. You can bury yourself in work. You can act like it does not matter. But you know, deep down, every single one of us wishes that just one person in our lives, in our immediate lives, would show up for us the way we've shown up for them. We wish someone would ask, how can I help? We wish someone would notice our effort without being prompted. We want them to celebrate our wins without us having to shove it in their face. And that wish, that unmet wish for years or decades, it becomes a kind of emotional exhaustion that doesn't make noise. It just drags at your soul quietly. So this next letter, it isn't just words or a story or a person complaining, okay? It's a mirror. I understand this one. This one has a lot of common ground. This whole subject has. And I want to share this pain with you and help you find a solution today. Help us find a solution today. Okay? Maybe not a solution, a good answer. Maybe a way to walk forward and not feel that absence. You know, and some people are going to see themselves in this. So clearly, you won't know whether to nod or cry, but hell, I relate it too deeply for comfort. It kind of vibrates in that place where you carry love and hurt in the same exact spot. And this part is not for the people who grew up supported. Okay. This is for the ones who grew up responsible. So breathe and let's get into it. Okay. Oh, I had to take a breath. Sorry. B, I'm not writing this out of anger. I'm writing it out of pure emotional exhaustion, the kind that doesn't make you yell, it makes you quiet. I am the person who holds everything together in my house. I'm the glue, the calendar, the memory, the driver. Pardon me. And the emotional support, the cleaner, the cook, the problem solver, the mediator, the one who notices what needs to be done, the one who does it before anyone else even realizes it needed doing. Pardon me. I do it silently because there is no alternative. If I don't do it, it won't get done. And nobody thanks me. Nobody acknowledges it. Nobody thinks twice about it. It's just what I do because that's who I am to them. Yeah. But here's where it hits. When it comes to my dreams, nobody shows up. Nobody asks. Nobody cares. Nobody notices how much time I put in, how much passion I pour in, how much of myself I devote to something that gives me hope. I watch people hype up their kids, their spouses, their siblings, their cousins, cheering them on like their dreams matter. And I sit there wondering what it must feel like to have someone in your corner like that. To have someone who genuinely wants to see you win. To have someone who looks at you and sees potential instead of convenience. Instead, I feel invisible unless someone needs something. I feel valued only for what I can do, not who I am. I feel like the minute I stop being useful, I'll stop being relevant. Wow, that one's a hard one. And that kind of realization, it breaks something inside you. It makes you feel like your dreams are luxuries you're not allowed to have. Like wanting support is selfish. Like asking for encouragement means you're ungrateful. And I know deep down the people around me won't change. I know they won't suddenly decide to show up for me. And I know they won't watch my content, won't listen to my ideas, won't check on my progress, won't celebrate my wins. But I still hope, I still wish, and I still wait, even though I shouldn't. So here's what I need to understand. Why am I important? I'm sorry. Why am I important in my work at home, but invisible in my dreams? Why is my value measured by what I produce and not what I aspire to? And how do I get past this hurt so I can finally become someone who isn't living life stuck between being needed and never being supported? Signed. Sorry, I forgot to change that one. Maybe it's better I didn't. Signed, significantly insignificant. Yeah. Okay. Listen, what you're feeling is something that many people will never understand because they never lived it. And the people who have lived it often don't talk about it. When you spend years and decades, being the person who quietly takes care of everything without ever being acknowledged for it, something happens internally. You begin to mistake responsibility for identity. I think that's the biggest one. And over time, that becomes a kind of an emotional conditioning that makes you think you're only worth, when you're serving others. So when you finally find something that belongs to you, a passion or a dream, creative outlet, and the people around you don't show up for it, the rejection hits deeper than the dream itself. It touches every moment in your life when you needed someone and had no one. And, it reopens old wounds in ways that are hard to even describe out loud. The hardest part of this dynamic is that the people around you often don't realize the positive or the position they've placed in you. Okay. Um, they become so accustomed to you being the dependable one, the one who fixes all the problems, that holds everything together. They stop seeing the human being behind the role. They don't do it with malice. They don't do it with complacency. They assume that your strength is infinite, and they assume you don't get tired. They also assume you don't need emotional support because you've survived so long without it. Before I go any further, I got to tell y'all, my late father-in-law, my husband's stepfather, who was actually, well, I won't get into that. That's another story, but he was an amazing man, and he died at 52. It was terrible. But let me tell you something. Something he said to me, and my in-laws are the best at teaching me things, because the thing that he left with me was, I mean, we all know this one. It's almost a cliche, but what do you get when you assume? You make an ass out of you and me, right? Assume. True. Stop assuming. They need to stop assuming. You also need to stop assuming. Stop assuming that they understand you right now, because you're not giving them what they need to understand, and they may never understand. Okay. And that's okay. Eventually, they're going to try, I hope. And there's that hope. But listen, when you finally do step into something that belongs to you, okay, something that gives you purpose, lights you up in a way nothing else has, you naturally expect the people closest to you to be the ones cheering the loudest. When they don't, when they ignore it, overlook it, treat it like it's an inconvenience, it leaves you questioning your own significance. You begin to wonder why the people you support without hesitation can't show up for you. Even a fraction of the same energy would be nice. And that gap between what you give and what you receive creates a very significant kind of heartbreak. This heartbreak, it's the heartbreak of being essential in everyone else's life, but invisible in your own. The truth, that you're bumping up against is like, it's like this. Some people only notice when you're fulfilling their needs, not your own. It's not that your dreams are too big or too bold or too ambitious. It's that the environment you grew in didn't teach the people around you how to support someone who steps beyond the limits they set. Sorry, I'm trying to make sense of all this too, because there's a lot of words here. They build comfort around your reliability, not room for your evolution. And as painful as that can be, the pain is not proof that your dreams don't matter. Okay. It's proof that you've outgrown the emotional ecosystem you were raised in. That's a good thing. Now, moving past this, it's going to require a huge shift that doesn't happen overnight. And it starts with recognizing that support doesn't always come from the people we expected. You may have hoped your family would show up. You may have believed they finally see your passion and respond with excitement. But their silence is not a reflection of your value, okay? It's a reflection of their limitations. Some people are emotionally wired only to notice you when you're doing something that benefits them directly. That's partially your fault. We do that. That's how we program. That's how we get programmed. They never learn how to celebrate someone for simply becoming more of themselves. And that is tragic. But it does not mean that you are destined to stay in that cage. You become a better person of yourself when you stop waiting for the validation that you deserve but never receive. Now, you move forward when you realize that support and love and encouragement, it doesn't always originate from the people who share your home or your last name. I'm going to change mine to Jackson. You grow when you allow your dreams to matter, even if they matter to you alone at first. You heal when you stop trying to earn appreciation from those who have proven repeatedly that they are incapable of giving it freely. And you rise when you understand that your worth is not tied to your labor, your usefulness, or even your compliance. Your worth is tied to your existence, your insight, your creativity, your voice, and your drive. Okay? The courage it takes to keep going in a world that has so often overlooked you. Now, you ask how to get past the hurt, and the truth is, you do not get past it by pretending it didn't happen. Okay? You get past it by giving yourself what they never gave you: acknowledgement, permission, grace. Try some encouragement and support for yourself. Pride, you're allowed that. Okay? It's not all a sin. I get it. But you can have some pride in yourself. If you don't, how can you have pride in anyone else? You give yourself the emotional nutrients you've been starved for, okay? You build a new circle, maybe small, maybe scattered across the internet, maybe in Maryland, maybe made of strangers at first, okay? But it will be yours. You build a foundation under yourself so that your dream no longer rises or falls based on who chooses to show up, okay? Somewhere in that process, you discover something life changing, like I did. The support that you were begging for was never the support you really needed. You needed belief. You needed freedom. You needed space to become someone who is not defined by obligation. You need iron sharpening. Iron universe is what you need. Amen. And I do feel better. I'll tell you, this is my experience. I almost to a T. And finding the Jackson family, that's why I have an answer today for this letter. Okay? I'm going to say it that way because that's why I have an answer for this letter today. These are the kind of people you should surround yourself with. And do me a favor, hold on tight and do not let go like I intend to do. You know, you are not insignificant and you are certainly not unseen. Okay? I see you. You are worthy. Okay? You are someone who has carried more than most people ever will while receiving less than anyone ever should. And the moment that you choose to stop measuring yourself by what others fail to give you, that is the moment that you finally step into the version of yourself who is free. Jack gave me a safe space so I could find mine. And I found so much more. Ah, poetic. Hi, honey. Another part of my extended family right there. Love you, dear. Okay. So now we are past that one. And guys, let me tell you, as hard as that one was, I'll tell you it'd been a lot harder if there wasn't a Jackson in my chat room right now. Simply because you are the perfect example of extended family that were once strangers but now have taken up space in my heart. The Jacksons and you too, Poetic. You know I love you, honey. Seriously. But we're going to go on. My goodness, that one lasted really good. Wow. 48 minutes into this one. Oh, I need to do more of those letters, huh? Pardon me. Okay. I love you, baby girl. All righty. Trivia time again. Are we ready for an answer? Do you have yours? All righty. I'm going to pull up this banner so we can know our question. Now, this guitarist who set his guitar on fire on stage at the 1967 Monterey Pop Festival was anybody? No? Maybe? Shall I give you a second? I need the Jeopardy theme here. I do. I like that little face. It's like, All right, we're going to go ahead with it then. Here is the answer. It was Jimi Hendrix. And the story behind that moment is so much deeper than the few who Jimi Hendrix. All right. The story behind that moment is so much deeper than the few clips people have seen online. Okay. And what people don't know is that Hendrix didn't light that guitar on fire simply for shock value. It was a direct response to the energy of the night and a rivalry that had been simmering quietly behind the scenes. Earlier in that lineup, the Who had demolished their instruments in an explosion of noise and chaos, whipping the crowd into a total frenzy. So Hendrix, naturally, who was still breaking into the American market at the time, felt the pressure of having to follow such a wild act. And to him, music wasn't just about playing, it was about creating a moment that people would remember for the rest of their lives, right? So Hendrix didn't come to the stage just to perform. He came to claim his space in music history. And here's the part almost nobody knows. The lighter fluid stunt was improvised and nearly didn't happen at all. His team scrambled backstage to find enough fluid to make it work. And the man handling the guitar swap almost gave him the wrong instrument, the one Hendrix actually wanted to keep, okay? When Hendrix finally knelt over the guitar and poured the fluid, he wasn't just committing an act of destruction. He was performing something almost ritualistic, okay? He later described it as sacrificing something I loved, turning the guitar into a symbolic offering to the music gods, the crowd, and the moment. The flames, they shot up higher than expected, okay? Singeing his hands so badly that later performances were physically painful for him. But he didn't flinch. He stayed in the performance as if the fire itself was part of the music, creating one of the most unforgettable images in rock and roll history. And another little known detail, that burned guitar, the original Monterey Strat, was lost for decades. People assumed it had been destroyed completely. It wasn't until about years later. Well, it was years later. Fragments appeared in a private collection, confirming once and for all that the legendary guitar had indeed survived in pieces. And to this day, the Monterey performance is considered the moment Hendrix's American career officially ignited. Like that word, literally and figuratively. And it remains one of the boldest statements any musician has ever made on stage. It's pretty cool, huh? Yeah, I'm really impressed with that. So, all right. Um, we're going to move on into the close of today's show. Man, we got all the way through that hour this time, didn't we? Sorry about yesterday, guys. I was having a little bit of a headache. But I want to take a moment to acknowledge the emotional ground that we've covered today. You know, we've laughed, we've reflected, and we've kind of leaned into some truths that are not easy to carry, let alone speak publicly. And that's the beauty of this space, I think, because this little corner of the world is where we get to mix humor and honesty, music with meaning, and, you know, a little community with confession. The letters that I read today were not just entertainment, they were windows into real human experiences that so many of us recognize but rarely voice. And, you know, whether you resonated with the frustration of trying to get your family to watch your content, or the deep ache of feeling unsupported in your own home, overwhelming responsibility of being the person who holds everything together, you're not alone, honey. You are not alone in any of it. Not here, and definitely not in this space. So, as we come to the end of today's Ask a Bee, I want to take this moment to honor the weight of what we opened up today, and also remind every single person listening that this space is part of something much bigger than a single letter or a single show. What we're building here together is a community where truth is allowed to breathe, where laughter and honesty share the same stage, and where growth isn't something you apologize for, okay? Pardon me. And I want you to recognize that this show, this hour we spend together, it's not isolated, okay? It's one branch of a much larger tree, a growing universe of conversations, perspectives, and stories being told every single week across the Iron Sharpening Iron Network. Now, if today's show hit something deep for you, if you felt heard or understood or finally seen in places you've been overlooked for way too long, then you'll understand why this entire universe of programming exists. From Ask a Bee, where we unpack the private battles people carry themselves and silently. Okay. Um, we do that in the Ladies' Diary, where women come together to speak openly about resilience, identity, healing, and empowerment, to the Coach's Corner with Mama Lions, where wisdom meets some live experience, and where strength isn't just taught but demonstrated, to the Gentleman's Journal, where men come forward to explore their own growth, accountability, and purpose in a world that often gives them no emotional space. Every show contributes to the same mission: to elevate, to encourage, and to connect, and to challenge people to step into the best version of themselves. Now, if you enjoyed the energy we bring here, the vulnerability, the humor, the depth, and the honesty, then you already understand the heartbeat behind the entire Iron Sharpening Iron universe. Big Jack brings the fire, the leadership, the drive, and the sense of family that so many of us have searched for our whole lives. Walt, he brings the grounding, the experience, and the perspective that balances the room. Mama Lions brings strength wrapped in grace. The panelists bring truth wrapped in laughter. And all of it together creates something you won't find anywhere else: a network where real conversations happen in real time with real people who genuinely want to see each other grow. So when you support this show, you're supporting all of that. When you show up here, you're showing up for an entire ecosystem built on encouragement instead of competition, and on honesty instead of surface level fluff. Community instead of clicks. You're supporting a vision, a place where people who never felt supported finally get to feel it. Every Sunday, every Wednesday, every daily segment, every show and spinoff, every voice. And you're helping us build something that we can pass on, something bigger than the moment, something that lives on long after live streams end. But let me bring this back to you, okay? Because that's what today was really about. Whether you feel supported at home or not, whether your dreams are being recognized by the people in your personal life or left to sit quietly on the sidelines, know this, please. This community sees you. This space acknowledges you. This universe of shows: Iron Sharpening Iron, Ask a Bee, Ladies' Diary, Coach's Corner, The Gentleman's Journal, We Be Jammin', every single spinoff we create, all of it is here so you don't have to walk through your growth alone. And if the people in your household haven't learned how to show up for you yet, let this be the place where you receive that support. You've earned it 100 times over. Your journey matters. Your voice matters. Your creativity and effort and healing and dreams, they all matter here. And long after this episode ends, long after today's weight settles into wisdom, I want you to remember that you do not rise alone. You rise with community. You rise with the family you choose. Okay? You rise with a network built for you, not against you. And every time you tune in, every time you show up, every single time you participate, you help us sharpen each other, strengthen each other, and remind each other that we are all becoming something more than what we were given. This has been Ask a Bee, and today, more than anything, I want you to know this: you were heard, you were understood, and you are supported by an entire universe that is growing with you step by step, show by show. Y'all have a good day, and remember, we love you. Bye-bye.